superintendent, I believe it's just him, but I might be wrong, I'm not sure.
Okay.
And maybe, at most, maybe one or more, but after that, but I think it should just be superintendent for all of total. So, something has changed, but they could be changing that in there for all I know. So. All right, y'all, here we go.
Good morning, Darlene. Everyone. Everyone good to go? Take this mask off so I can be clear. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us at last-minute notice. But this is very important that we came before you today. I have with me today our partners at the Louisiana State Police, as well as the Orleans Levee Board District Police, as well as Crime Stoppers, and then our partners with the council, Councilmember Green and Councilmember Oliver Thomas, and a commanding officer of our traffic division, as well as Chief of Operations, Chris Goodley. So it is no secret what we saw yesterday and the events that occurred on yesterday with this street stunt driving that we've just been seeing across the country. But what was unique about yesterday that we should not be accepting is the total disrespect for our officers and jumping onto our vehicles and kicking our vehicles as they are trying to protect the citizens of our city. We have information that leads us to believe some of these individuals were not from New Orleans. But regardless as to whether they're from New Orleans or any other city, this should not be accepted. We should not let this be the norm. We should not be receiving these distractions with regards to stunt driving when we need to focus on the real problem at hand, which is the violence in the city of New Orleans. So just on yesterday, we responded to at least 4 different locations with these types of activities. Some of these incidents involved weapons being brandished. And in one particular case right there, St. Claude and St. Roch, as I stated before, individuals hindering our ability to respond and creating a safe environment for our citizens. Not only are you jeopardizing the citizens when you do this, but you're also jeopardizing our officers' lives. We're here to protect and serve you, but we cannot allow our officers to be disrespected. So this has happened yesterday. That is a bolder and brazen criminal that we are seeing. So that means we have to have a bolder and brazen response when it comes to dealing with these type of situations. In the past, we have addressed this with the arrest for reckless operation. Those days are no longer. We're going to enhance our arrest in arresting individuals for aggravated, and get the proper verbiage for it because I want to make sure you hear me correctly when we speak to what we're going to do on this. Aggravated obstruction of highway or commerce, which faces up to 15 years in jail. And I am advocating for more legislation, more policies in place so that we can actually take or seize these individuals' vehicles. I am advocating for more legislation to give us the authority to address the spectators as well. We cannot continue to allow our city, have individuals come to our city with a plan in place as to how they're going to take over our city. That is unacceptable, and it will not be tolerated. We are working hand in hand with state police. We are working hand in hand with Levee Board and several other of our partners to come up with a better response, a proper response. We have received information already from Crime Stoppers, but we're asking for more. We want to know who are the planners, who are the organizers, not just the drivers, not just the spectators, but who are the organizers behind this as well. Because everyone, if identified, and not just if, when identified, will be held accountable. We, as a city, have to practice some self-responsibility. We have to do better. And there's no way in hell we should be allowing anyone to come in our city and rule our city the way that they have done on yesterday. So again, we'll be working intentionally, purposely, with our partners to hold these individuals accountable for their actions. I'm going to ask Councilmember Thomas and Councilmember Green to say a few words, and then I'll come back and answer any questions that you may have. Councilmember Thomas?
First of all, I want to thank our chief. As chairman of the Criminal Justice Committee, this isn't Gotham City. Joker and the Penguin don't rule the streets of this community. And I'm so proud of our chief and all of our law enforcement partners here saying that at this time, this is a tipping point here. Law enforcement, the men and women who put on that uniform, who put on that badge, will not and cannot be disrespected like that. If you thought you could do it yesterday, you can't do it anymore.
and that the safety of the citizens in this community, whether it's brandishing weapons, whether it's some of the indiscriminate violence that's happening in our community right now, or whether it's the broken windows theory about spinouts and burnouts and blocking traffic, that people will be held accountable and they will be arrested. Councilmember Green is going to bring an ordinance before my committee to talk about how we can maybe enhance some of the stuff that's already on the books with the state as well as with local law enforcement, where you not only have a fine, where you will not only be arrested, you're going to lose your vehicle. You're going to be the Joker without a car. You're going to be the Riddler. You're going to need a Riddler to figure out how to get back to where you came from. But one of the most offensive things that they did, and thank you, Chief, is that they titled this the takeover. They were on social media talking about they were going to take over our city. Well, try to figure out how to take over that 10 by 12 they're going to put you in. Because the chief, as he said today, you will not disrespect the men and women of our police department like that anymore.
Thank you, Councilman Thomas, and thank you, Chief Ferguson, and all of the members who are here who are interested in this city, state police, and all who are supporting making our city safer. What we saw yesterday was kind of an example of why the city council has been involved with the ordinance that is going to enhance municipal penalties. But I am so pleased to hear the police chief today say that he is going to appeal to the district attorney to use the charge of obstruction of a highway of commerce to pursue charges against those who did what they did yesterday and what they do in advance. I do want to say we are doing this because we want our citizens to be safer. We want the perpetrators to be safer. I hope that the media who has access will show the video of the person who was almost killed, who was hit by the back of a vehicle that was engaging in these donuts. Those people who think these are victimless crimes are absolutely, positively wrong. These are crimes that affect those who are impacted because they can't go through intersections, those who engage in the penalties, and those who are spectators. What we're doing right now with the city council is finding out the best way, we're researching the best way to hold spectators accountable. It's important that we do it legal, and it's important that we are able to enforce it. But I just want to say that I think that yesterday may have been, as Councilman Thomas says, the tipping point. What we saw yesterday was a coordinated effort to bring people in from other cities and other states, Mississippi and Houston. And I encourage the feds to recognize that, to do mayhem in our city, to take over our city, and it's just not going to happen. The city council is resolute. The city council is concerned. The city council is firm that this policy has got to end. So I do want to say once again, thank you to the members of law enforcement. You have a very difficult job and are doing tremendously. Thousands of arrests this year, but what the problem is what happens after the arrest. 1,300 arrests by the May 26th, only 125 convictions, very few prosecutions relative to the number of arrests. We've got to change that, so we know that it has to be systemic. But we are focused on making this city safer, and what we're talking about today, and I appreciate the police chief giving me the opportunity to speak to you, is something that is going to make our citizens safer. We want everyone to be safe, and that's what this is all about. But we will not tolerate the disrespect of our city, of our law enforcement officers, as was done on yesterday. And I encourage the citizens of this city who encourage this and to also support this to do something different and keep our citizens safe by speaking out against this and acting out against it. Thank you once again, Chief, and all those members from law enforcement, Crime Stoppers, who are here today for this very, very important statement that we are making as a community that's interested in safety. Thank you.
First, I want to thank those who took the time to send us the links through the anonymous tip program with Crime Stoppers. Thank you to the person who took the time to send us the name of a driver, a possible driver. But I'm reaching out to everybody. I'm angry too, just like everybody behind me. This is my town, my city. And you don't disrespect our law enforcement. So I'm asking everyone to get as angry as we are and come forward and send us your information. Anonymously through Crime Stoppers, however you need to do it. Yes, there are rewards, and we're going to pay out. Pay out for those who were the organizers, and pay out for those who are the people who are here participating. So make the phone call, 822-1111. Send us the video at crimestoppersgno.org or on our app, our Crime Stoppers GNO app. But don't stay silent. This is affecting your quality of life. It's affecting my quality of life. And we have to say no. And again, Chief, thank you to your officers for what you're doing, and thank you for all of the legislation that's being proposed. It's going to send an impact.
Thank you, Darlene. So, I mean, with that being said, I mean, I just want to like to give one other example to our citizens. Just think about those ambulance, those EMS units, our public safety services that are trying to respond to your call. Think about that pregnant female and her family trying to get her to the hospital so she can have that child. And these intersections are being blocked. We cannot provide our services that are needed and expected of us as public servants to our citizens as a result of this reckless behavior. And we have to step up and say enough is enough. As a city, as a state. And on top of all of that, give the officers the respect that they deserve. They risk their lives day in and day out. When they walk out of their door, it is unknown if they're going to return home to their family and loved ones. And to disrespect them the way that you did on yesterday is unacceptable. And I can tell you it would not be tolerated ever again. We will do what is necessary. We will be bolder. We will be more brazen in our response. Gary, questions?
Chief, I just want to clarify, thank you, some facts, and then I have my question. Did it happen chronologically where social media flyers went out, group meets in Baton Rouge at the Mall of Louisiana, they come down, they pick up more people, and then they have three or four different locations? State police had intel that was passed on to NOPD about that these were going to happen. Is that all accurate?
It's not, some of that is still under investigation. We're trying to determine what was known, what was not known. What we did not have was exact time, exact locations. We did have information that the individuals were planning to come to New Orleans. We just were not aware of the exact location because it has changed every time that we've had this type of information, these types of incidents, the locations have changed.
So knowing from the past that these things get big and out of control, NOPD has a reputation nationally for crowd control with our Mardi Gras, and the list goes on. In one of them, we saw one officer go. Why just one officer when they're usually big and out of control? Is that consent decree, manpower shortage? Why just one guy?
Consent decree has absolutely nothing to do with this and our response. Yesterday, we actually started our 12-hour shift, so you're actually seeing more officers on the ground working at one time. So to answer your question, the officers were en route. While this officer, he was the first one on scene. But we had more officers that were en route to support him. He was just trying to engage because he saw the egregiousness of what was occurring, and he was doing his best to try to disperse the crowd with his lights and sirens, and at which time he more or less became under attack.
Yes, and what does it say when you see someone jumping on a police car at that moment? And what prevents the officer from making an arrest at that moment when someone's jumping on a car like that?
So, I mean, I can't tell you what was going on in that officer's mind at that point in time, but, I mean, from what I can see and what I know thus far, he was more focused on trying to disperse the crowd and getting that, what drew the crowd to their location, he's trying to disperse that, meaning get those vehicles out of the street or out of that intersection. It became a hindrance. As you can see on the video, he could not just go out and just address this one individual on his own because there were multiple people kicking at his vehicle and jumping onto his vehicle. So again, he was under attack, and he did what he could do. The best thing that he could possibly do at that time was to try to disperse the crowd as best as he could and get out of the way. One follow-up?
I apologize. Was anybody injured in the 4 incidents?
So, I mean, we have, and you heard council members speak to that, we have seen some video of an individual or individuals being struck, but nothing has been reported to us at any of these intersections thus far.
Hi, Chief. Gabby Phillips from the Fund with you. I know that you announced recently Operation Golden Eagle 2 carried over from last summer. I'm curious how working with Louisiana State Troopers and NOPD will sort of come together to curb crime, specifically in
Absolutely. Actually, while we're standing before you right now, NOPD and state police are actually in a meeting to discuss that at this very moment. Operation Golden Eagle, again, is about addressing violent crime, and that is where our focus needs to be, and not putting more restraints on all of our limited resources with these distractions of stunt driving. And that is why I'm crying out to our public. You know something. You knew it before it was going to occur. Call us. You know where it's going to be. Call us. Let us know. Tell us so that we can get in front of it. And I must say, we have, in many instances, been ahead of the game where we know some of these common areas. We've been there. We were able to deter it before it occurred. But then, we just can't be everywhere all the time.
Chief, I know that you're working with some of the other agencies, and then also on 12-hour shifts now. Has manpower played an issue in this? We're hearing that possibly under 1,000 officers, in the NOPD at this point. So responding to these types of instances, is that an issue?
No, we're over 1,000. We still are over 1,000 with regards to our numbers, but our response, I think, is being better. It's going to be better. And the data will eventually show that. I expect that it will show us as we progress throughout this 12-hour shift. You know, we're doing this 3-month pilot throughout the summer on a 12-hour shift. We're going to read the data. We're going to look at the data, see if it's something that is beneficial to us as a department, beneficial to us as a service to our citizens. But we just started this on yesterday. We're going to see how that works. But again, we respond when called, we are responding. But you cannot engage or you cannot respond properly when you have individuals standing in front of them. The response is there. The officers are seen in traffic being blocked by vehicles, and then when the vehicles move, then you have pedestrians standing in the middle of an intersection. So I don't think there's a question about the response. The question should be, why are our citizens allowing our officers to be hindered in trying to respond to a call for help? That is the question that we need to ask, not just ourselves, but our citizens. And we need to change our mindset. It is, in fact, a crime when you do this type of behavior, and they will be arrested. Next.
Xavier, we talked about, we asked about Xavier. What's the latest?
That is still, that is still under investigation. We have made some progress. Not anything I'm prepared to speak to just yet. I can assure you, once we are comfortable enough with everything that we have, I will be right back at this podium giving you an update on it.
Y'all have cell phone videos and maybe some people who have come forward with information?
We have a plethora of evidence that we are going through right now. We're combing through to determine who was responsible for what and what was their roles in this unfortunate tragedy. But right now, again, it's still under active investigation.
And just to make sure, so we're accurate, NOPD has more than 1,000?
More than 1,000 officers, yes, we do.
About how many officers were patrolling yesterday?
I don't have that on me right now. I'll get that to you.
Last question?
There were 4 or 3 places yesterday.
4 locations, 4 locations.
Chef, Downman, Annunciation, St. Rock, and,
I'll get you the list.
okay, thank you.
Chief, I'm curious, with sort of these groups coming down and, having these events, have you seen, now they're sort of citywide and they've expanded. So what do you think that sort of says about the overall attitudes? And then I know that you spoke, pretty heavily on like shutting this sort of attitude down, the idea of a takeover. But now that things have spread citywide, what is the police department's opinion on it?
I mean, I think I really would like for you to be mindful too. It's not something that's just in New Orleans. This is nationwide. And again, we continue to face these phenomenal things through social media. People sharing information and doing this in a way to get their, I guess, clicks or their looks or views or what have you. So, but we just have to focus on what we're seeing here in New Orleans and try to address it as best as we possibly can. And we have been having great support from the levee board, great support from Louisiana State Police in doing just that. I mean, yesterday was a unique situation. There were multiple locations, and we had, unfortunately, some of our own citizens hindering our response. We're just going to keep pushing it. Thank you.
Maybe here, let me ask the questions of the council people just real quick, please. Y'all both came here to talk about this. Where does the mayor stand on this? Or what kind of conversations have you had with the mayor about dealing with this situation?
I think the chief
But
speaks for.
I can speak for the mayor, and the mayor as well as Councilmember Thomas and myself were on the phone last night because we all were outraged about this. And all night, we were talking about this all night last night. And the mayor's just as upset as we are, all of us. I mean, I think it is key. You see all of us here together at a moment's notice, because that is how important it is for us. Unfortunately, the mayor could not be with us today because she's out of town, but she's very much aware of what is going on, and she's very much unhappy. You know, she had stood by this city. She continued to be a great leader in this city. But she's also a supporter of these officers that risk their lives day in and day out. So that this disrespect was real, and our response is going to be real. So she's very much aware of what is going on, and she's in support of everything that we are doing collectively today to ensure the safety of our cities, our citizens, and our officers. Thank you all.